All right, so let's give names to the text box first. So that'll be txt military time, because that's what is going to be entered into this text box. For the button, btn submit. For the label, LBL result. All right, so you're familiar with all this by now. Save your work by clicking the Save All button. All right, so let me just double check my work. TXT military time, BTN submit, LBL result. Looks like we're in good shape. At this point, we are now ready to enter the code, and we're going to use an if statement to display either you are going to go to sleep, if it's 8 o'clock or greater than 8 o'clock p.m., and if it's not, then you get to party. So I will double-click Submit. I don't need the text box. I don't need the Properties panel. I'm going to type in my comments, declarations, get user input, calculation, output. So here's what you have to ask yourself in the declarations section. What is the user going to give to me, and what do I need to give to the user? So in my opinion, go back to the form and ask, what does the user give to you? Well, it looks like they give this to you, the military time. All right, so what I'm going to do over here is dim military time as, now I'm going to create an integer because military time can be, for example, 8 a.m. is 800 hours, midnight is 100 hours, 1 p.m. is 1300 hours. It looks like there isn't anything with a decimal point in it. So an integer will represent the military time just fine. All right. Now, what do I have to give back to the user? I have to give back to the user some sort of a message, right? Time to go to sleep. It's time to party. So I will say message as string. Last time I said the word output. I'm just changing it up so that you can see it doesn't really matter. If I wanted to give this thing an initial value, I could do this, which means that this message string does not have anything. It's blank. In terms of getting the user input, we are going to assign to military time, and I'll say convert dot to int 32, whatever is inside of this text box dot text. Make sure that you enter this part right here where it says dot text. Some intro programmers forget that part. So what we're doing is we're reading this thing from right to left. Get the text from this text box, convert it into a whole number, and then place it into a variable called military time. Well, now that you've obtained the input from the user, we're ready to ask a question. And the question is it 8 o'clock or greater than 8 o'clock? So, and we also have to think about 8 o'clock in terms of military time. So if military time is greater than or equal to, now 8 o'clock is the same thing as 2000 hours. If the military time is greater than or equal to 2000 hours, then press enter, and you'll notice that an if block is created for you. The if block starts here and it ends here. The end if statement is automatically generated for you in Visual Basic. So if this is true, that the military time is greater than or equal to 2000 hours, then I want my message to say time to go to bed. But what if the military time has not approached 8 o'clock? It's less than 8 o'clock. Then we want a different message. So that's the else statement. You type else, you press enter. So what this statement does is it says the statement that you were asking about is false. Because if this was true, you would execute this. But if it's not true, well then what am I going to do? What else am I going to do? Well, I'm going to do this. Your message is time to party. So the if statement is a wonderful tool. It's called the selection structure. Let me add a note under calculation. I'll say note, the if statement is called a selection structure. There are various structures in programming, and the if statement is one of them. I have another one to teach you, and there's one that I've been teaching you, but I haven't identified it yet. It's called sequence. So, what is the if statement? What structure is it? It's a selection structure. You know what the word selection means. It means to choose. And that's exactly what we're doing over here. We are either choosing this or we are choosing this, and here is the criteria. This thing right here, some people call it the Boolean expression. I think it's Charles Boole, if I'm not mistaken, was the mathematician who came up with this idea of Boolean mathematics. It's the mathematics of logic, if something evaluates to true or if something evaluates to false. Sometimes people call this the predicate. You know what it is? It's a criteria. It's a criteria that you are asking, is this true or is it false? Because if it's true, you execute this. If it's false, you execute this. All right, so next week in the exam, what if I said, not next week, this week, on the exam, what if I said this? This statement and this statement are both executed if the if statement is true. Is that correct? No, it's not. Good. If this is true, you only execute this. Okay, how about this? This statement always gets executed when the above statement is false. Is that a true or false statement? That's a true statement. If this evaluates to false, you do this. If this evaluates to true, you do this. Okay. It is possible, says the question next week, or this week on the exam, it is possible for both of these statements to be executed. True, false? False. Only one of them. Either this one is going to get executed or this one. Think of the car stereo. You have two buttons on your car stereo. You can't push both of them at the same time and listen to two radio stations simultaneously. Only one. This one or this one, but not both. Okay. Well, now we're ready to display the results to the label, and so we'll just simply do this. Take that message, whatever it happens to be, and put it into the text property of the label, LBL result. So if I run my program, let's see here. Let's say that it is 8 a.m., which in military time is 0800. I'll just put 800. Time to party. Nice. Let's see here. Let's say that it's 1959 hours. Still time to party, okay? What if it's 2000 hours, which is 8 p.m.? Time to go to bed. Why? Because if the military time is greater than or equal to, well, the equal part is what we are noticing right now. So therefore, the message is assigned time to go to bed, and that's why that's what's sent to the label, and so you see that over here.